So today's Bump episode is about premature babies and a wonderful charity supporting them. But just a few little facts before we meet our guests for today. 1 in 8 babies are born prematurely in the UK. That's over 100,000 babies a year, which is just astonishing. So I'm joined today by 2 lovely guests. I have Laura Tobin from Good Morning Britain, meteorologist. I have already been asking her about the weather, who had a little girl prematurely. And Rachel Marsh, who is founder of Ickle Pickles, which is a charity that helps sick and premature babies. So Laura, we will come to you first. Now, you had a little girl, Charlotte, who is now 3?
Yes, she just turned 3.
Now, you had her and she was very premature, wasn't she? So I'll let you just tell me a little bit about the story of what happened and kind of how poorly she was.
It's so funny because on her 3rd birthday, I don't know if everyone's the same, but I sort of relived that day. So I got up to go to Good Morning Britain and I'd been feeling a bit hot and a bit unwell. And I thought I had just like a bit of a tummy ache. And I remember talking to the Met Office on the way in and the girl was going, oh, you know, when are you having the baby? And I was like, oh, it feels like it might be today, as a joke, not knowing it would be that day. And I got to Good Morning Britain and Debbie in wardrobe just instantly looked at me and said I didn't look right. And I just was every now and again going,
oh God. And it was your first as well. Yeah. So you obviously didn't realise that was labour.
And we hadn't had any antenatal classes, so you don't know anything about what's going to happen, how it might feel, nothing. And I hadn't really read any books. I sort of felt quite superstitious that until 28 weeks, so Charlotte was born at 27 weeks and 5 days, till 28 weeks, until the 3rd trimester, I didn't want to get into anything. I just thought, I'll wait till then and then, you know, get the bag and all that jazz.
Get the bag sorted.
Nothing really. And I just arrived and she instantly, I don't know how she just instantly knew that something wasn't quite right.
Yeah.
So she instantly phoned Dr. Hillary. Who else do you phone? And from everything that she said to him, he just instantly knew that there was a very good chance that the baby was coming. And we didn't know whether it was a girl or boy. We wanted it to be a surprise.
Right.
And I had this whole thing in my head that the baby would be born and they would look and my husband would say, it's a girl, it's a boy. And even actually later on, I still kept going on about that. And they're thinking, we've got a lot of other things going on apart from this romantic world that I want this baby to be born in. And then I remember Piers running in and his little face popping into wardrobe and him going, oh my goodness, she's going to have this baby today. And I just she just went, Piers, go away, you're not helping.
Panic you.
And you can see someone just ushering him away. And you just see all these faces like pop up and like disappear. And I was going, I'll be fine, I can record the weather. And then just going,
oh gosh, you poor thing.
I just I just don't know how I didn't know that the baby was coming. You know, they say it's good to talk. Obviously, we should talk more because one of my other friends was having a baby and I said to her, oh my goodness, I need to go to the toilet all the time. And every time I go to the toilet, I finish and then I wee myself again. It's so weird. And she was like, oh, yeah, I need to go to the toilet as well all the time. So in my head, I just thought it was normal. But I didn't realise what was actually happening was I'm emptying my bladder, the bump's moving, and wherever the tear was, it was leaking a little bit. Oh and only now I realise that. Somebody should be really intelligent. I don't know why I didn't even realise that.
Well, I suppose you wouldn't, because I would just think, oh, it's just because baby's pressing on my bladder and I obviously can't hold it.
Yeah, I phoned my midwife and she said, oh yeah, it'd be bad bladder control, because we talked about having done no pelvic floor exercises.
Yeah, oh my God. Me neither. I'm really regretting it now.
And we went to Mallorca, actually.
Oh gosh! Oh my gosh!
Yeah, we went to Mallorca and you don't need a letter until you're 28 weeks to fly, but I still had a letter from the doctor just to say, because I'd been for my 26-week checkup and everything was fine, apart from my waters having broken, but because it was so little and such a tiny trickle, and because I didn't really mention it because I thought it was something else, I was able to fly, and a sort of, I think that might have been the saving grace of it all, because if stuff can go out, then stuff can come back in again. So I think what ended up happening, like going in the swimming pool, going in the sea, stuff ended up getting in the bump, and then it must have caused like an infection or...
Right, so there was an infection going on in there. Yeah. And do they think that's what brought on your labour?
Yes. Right. So I think that, when I ended up going to hospital, I was really hot, you know, really unwell. And I think that the the tummy, the baby in the tummy, and just decided that, you know, this infection, something's in here, we need to get the baby out because it's not safe to be in here. So they eventually came back and said, the baby's going to come today.
I do not want to stop talking to you, Laura, but I'm aware of time and I really want to hear your story too, Rachel.
Yeah.
Now, you started a charity called Ickle Pickles.
Yes, I did.
Tell me a little bit as to why you started that charity and also why it's called that.
So, very similar story to Laura, really, but this was 12 years ago. We had our little boy Charlie at 28 weeks and 2 days.
Right.
And for us, it was just completely out of the blue. I think it was about 2 a.m. in the morning and I just didn't feel right. Spoke to the hospital and nearly said to my husband, you stay here, you know, I'll be fine. I'll just drive myself in. You know, this is far too early, nothing to worry about.
Did it feel like contractions? Was it like a tummy pains?
It was, and I hadn't had Braxton Hicks.
No.
So, and I'd been, you know, reading all the books and thinking about what
You read,
what
you were
happened.
good.
Yeah, I did read. And then I think I was reading at 2 a.m. thinking this can't possibly be premature labour. So again, a bit like Laura, I think I was in that denial stage and went into hospital. And actually, I think I was seen by a junior doctor because it was the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And she said, I think you're having Braxton Hicks. I'll go get you home. You know, let's not worry about this. And there's, you know, Charlie was my first. This instinct kicked in, and at one point I said, okay, whatever's happening, it's happening now. I don't think it's quite right. Can you just check me? And so they checked and went, you're 5 centimetres
Oh my
you're in
goodness.
labour.
Wow.
And everything changed. The whole dynamic changed. And, you know, people were sort of rushing around the bedside. And I remember having a talk from a neonatal nurse, and she was basically setting out the parameters of it all. And she said, you've got a 70% chance of this baby surviving, of which I thought,
Wow.
actually, that's pretty good in my
Pretty
eyes
good,
because
yeah.
this is not what I thought was happening.
And so, Rachel, obviously Charlie's, you know, well now.
Yeah, he's 12.
12 years
Yeah.
old, flipping heck. And he was obviously the whole reason you started
Yeah.
Ickle Pickles,
Yeah.
which is a charity. So you raise money to provide the equipment that
That's
hospitals
right, yeah,
need.
Yeah. So a few months after Charlie was born, my husband said, I think we need to give something back. We were so amazed by the care that he received when he was in there. And I said, oh yeah, that's a great idea. And he said, I think we should set up a charity. I'm going, great idea. Not
lovely.
thinking about, you know, the depth of it all. And he said, I think we should call it the Ickle Pickles. Brilliant idea. So, and the reason for that was that when Charlie was born, again, a bit like Charlotte, he didn't open his eyes for 3 weeks.
Wow.
So we felt we couldn't name our child because we couldn't see
See his eyes.
his eyes
even.
and the little person that he was.
It's like a little
and-
puppy, isn't it? They don't open their eyes when
Yeah.
they're first born, do
Yeah, and
they?
he's like a little bird, really. He was so spindly.
Gosh.
And one of the nurses called him her Ickle Pickle.
Oh,
She was so
Well,
bored
that
of
made
us
me go
not.
really goosebumpy then. That's so lovely.
Yeah, so she said, I can't call him Male Infant Marsh anymore. I need to call him something. I'm calling him Ickle Pickle. So that's when Andy came up with the idea of the charity. That's what.
That's
he said
such
we
a
should call
lovely,
it.
such a lovely meaning behind
Yeah,
the charity name.
yeah.
You're a hero within yourself, having started this charity. Laura, you have a hero because somebody was there on hand. He might just be sat behind me here. I don't just always have a picture of Dr. Hilary
Yeah, you
in my
do.
kitchen. Well, it's normally by the side of my bed. Danny doesn't like it. But yes, so we have an award here because
Yes.
you have. Well, you want to give him this, don't you? For a
And-
special reason.
And he couldn't be more deserving. This is my Ickle Hero Award for Dr. Hilary Jones. Sometimes we joke he's not a real doctor. He is. He is a real doctor. Honestly, if he hadn't have been there that morning, I genuinely think this would have all gone very differently, and it wouldn't. I mean, not that it was a smooth ride; it was an awful ride. But it wouldn't have gone as well as
Yeah.
it had, in inverted commas. I think there's lots of issues with, you know,
Things
that
like
at the
that.
moment. And I think right now in lockdown it's really stressful because, you know, we were lucky that we could both go into the hospital every day and hug her and be by her bedside. And I think some hospitals aren't allowing any visits, or if they do, it's just one person and it's just one parent at a time. So I know
Couldn't
you guys
even
have got all the
imagine.
iPads and
Yeah,
in
so
hospitals.
we're finding that a lot of parents are really struggling because from the mental health side as well, because you're being encouraged to be with your baby as much as possible, and then with the lockdown that restriction's
impossible.
just in place. Yeah, so one of the things we buy incubators, ventilators, all the big kit that they need.
Very expensive kit. I saw how much an
expensive.
incubator costs. thousands and thousands of pounds.
Yeah, so ventilators like 25,000 and good incubators are similar price really. But one thing we've bought recently is some iPads just so that they can do WhatsApp calls and with the parents and show them the
That's
nurses to show the
amazing.
babies.
You don't even think about the things like that. So you are helping ease the strain on the NHS, aren't you? Massively.
There's some gaps we're trying to fill, and no hospital ever says we're fine. They always need kids.
Yeah. So how much have you actually donated then since the charity started?
So since we started in 2009, we've donated just over £1.6 million to hospitals.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
That's shocking. That's brilliant. Well done.
Thank you, Charlie. That's amazing for him.
Yeah, he keeps telling people.
He's very proud of his mummy and daddy.
He is. Yeah. I'm the original Ickle Pickle, is what he says.
Yeah, he is. And you've teamed up with Sudocrem. Brings me on to this. And you have teamed up with Sudocrem and you've brought out My Ickle Sudocrem pots, which are an amazing size.
I mean,
genius. This needed to happen. Great for us now our kids are older for taking out on the go when they fall off their bikes or their scooters. So you can buy a pot of this from Tesco or Boots in store, and they're £2.99 I think, and 50p, if I'm right, 50p goes towards Ickle Pickles charity. Yeah. So everyone can go out, well now we're allowed into Boots and Tesco, everyone can go out and if they want to help with the charity, which is obviously so worthy of help, they can go and buy one of these.
They can. I think they're out from the 26th of August.
26th, and it's not that long they're out for, is it? So people
about 6 weeks.
About 6 weeks, so people need to get themselves out there and get their little
My
pots
Charlotte
of
loves it already. You know that when they're first born, your bag's huge, but there's still no room for things. So one of those was just to squeeze into the corner. But my bag's got smaller now, and this is perfect size. And the other day, Charlotte fell over, and she was like, "Mummy, my Ickle cream," and I'm like, "Okay." She actually wants it, and I'm like, "Oh, rub it." It's like a magic cream. And I rubbed it on, and actually, I got a sting the other day, a bee sting, and I phoned my mum, and I was like, "What to do?" She was like, "You have your Sudocrem," and I'm like, "Oh yeah."
It's great. It's so good for everything. Literally, I use it for everything. I sleep in it on my face as well sometimes. Yeah, I know. Do you know, it's so funny. Cooper calls it magic cream. Oh. Yeah, so if ever, but he started making up that he's hurt now, just so he can have it on. So he'll be like, "Mummy, magic cream." I'm like, "What's hurting? Where have you got an injury?" Yeah. But girls, thank you so much for coming on. I am so glad that both your children are now doing well and thriving. Obviously, you were saying, Rachel, that that there is a little difference, with their development. But from what I've gathered, your little boy is, well, it's a big boy now, is striving. And they're fighters, right? Aren't they? They've been born
so
fighters.
To hear.
I'm sure they will keep going from strength to strength. But thank you for sharing your stories. Hopefully it will, if it just helps a few people, that's all we want, isn't it? Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So Dr. Hilary is at work, and I'm going to give him this, my little award. Here he is. Hi, Dr. Hilary.
Hey.
I have something for you. I don't think you know anything about this. This is a My Ickle Heroes Award. You're my Ickle hero. When Charlotte was born really early, you were there for me, took the phone call, didn't know what was going on. You came to visit me in hospital. So Sudocrem have this award for you from me for being my Ickle hero.